Now, this session is all about being more creative. How can you be more creative? How the hell is creativity? You know, in fact, I was sharing this with Harry the other day. I said, between you and Mark Zuckerberg, there's only just one idea. Okay. And that is always the case between you and anyone who you inspire to be. You're only one idea away and not a million hours hustle. Okay. It's not just about hustling. It's about being more creative with your ideas. But how can one be more creative? I remember I was reading this book. This is about 15 years ago or 14 years ago. And back then I used to obviously run a chauffeur company. I was actually driving the chairman of a listed company myself. And I had this book in my car, and he said, what are you reading, Jack? And I said, I'm reading this book. He looked at the book. He called up one of his managers and said, can you order 200 copies and give it to all our employees in the office? This is in his London office. Okay. He was a chairman of a listed company, a multi-billionaire. And then he goes to me, Jack, once you finish this book, do share with me the concept. Like, what is the core learning in it? And I did so. But there's one thing that I learned from that book, which is, in fact, I'll share with you that book if I can remember. Remind me, and I'll share the name of the book. I can't remember now. But one of the concepts that I learned from that book is that open up a book, open up any book or notebook. It doesn't really matter anything. Okay, open up a page. Go with your finger and pick up a verb, right? Or pick up any word, right? And then see how that word, remember, you're not doing this consciously, right? This is like picking up any book, any page, and going your finger and picking up any word. Closed eyes, okay? You pick up the word and say, how does that word apply to my business? Okay? A creative practice. Okay? Now, that's just a practice. How do you become more creative when you look at any idea? Okay? Give me an example. Someone give me an example. Can everyone hear me? Someone's got noise behind them as well. Can you mute yourself, please? Can everyone hear me? I think we've frozen. Lavanya, okay, give me a context, okay? Give me a context, please. Give me an idea. And I'll share how to be more creative with it.
Okay, let's talk about the same concept with the HMO.
The one
co-living. Yeah, co-living. Yeah.
How can you be more creative? Interesting.
It's not being creative with the property. Let's be creative with the website or the service provided to the customers.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Let's say, give me an example of the kind of people who might potentially live there. What kind of profession they might be in?
Definitely, there are industrial workers as well as IT professionals, because there are a lot of IT companies surrounding.
Okay. Okay. So let's say if it's an IT professional.
Yeah.
What is the biggest challenge an IT professional faces?
Biggest challenge?
Or for that matter, any kind of challenge?
The challenges is mainly outsourcing, especially. So there are people who are coming from India.
No. We're not talking about that. We're talking more in terms of the day-to-day living. Remember, we're talking about your HMO and day-to-day living.
Day-to-day living, main challenges when they come to HMO is Wi-Fi or the working from home options clearly, and the facilities what they have.
I think IT professionals work long hours as well.
Yeah, they work long hours, especially when they are working long hours. They don't have any. They couldn't have any other facilities like cooking food or something else.
Okay. So that leads to, they would want to spend more time playing, right?
Yes.
Because they spend a lot of time. Can you provide them with like Seti was saying, a snooker table, a pool table, sorry, not a snooker table, a pool table, or for that matter, one of those table tennis tables, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but when you're trying to provide those, you need to have a sufficient space for your living as well. So it's working with your budgets at the same
that's right.
time.
That's
So,
right.
how do you
Okay.
handle is
Okay.
the,
Do you have a garden?
yes, of course, we have garden.
Can you put up a very small, not necessarily very expensive tennis table outside in the garden and cover it with something?
Probably, yes. Yeah.
Okay. To relieve more stress, remember, long hours, stressful. How can they relieve more stress? And what can you provide to relieve more stress? What can you provide in your HMO that helps them relieve more stress? Okay. Can you provide one of those in the garden? Those the ones which you can feel air in, jumping. What are they called?
Trampolines.
Trampolines, right? Trampolines, right?
Yeah.
They don't cost a lot. They can be, like you can lose the air and store it anywhere. One of those trampolines. Can you provide that? Okay. Can you provide, like I said, a treadmill, anything to play with? Also, that you can do systematic way of saying that, for example, it's almost like an encouragement rather than a rule, more encouragement that you encourage through things that you can write on the wall by saying, if you don't want to cook today, ask another member, please. They will cook for you. Maybe you can cook another day for them.
Yeah. Think about it in this way. Yes, when people are sportive, you
Yeah.
can provide all that. There are people who are not sportive.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you engage them? It will be another challenge.
You want to make sure, okay, so there's two things you can do there. Okay. So let me start with this. Okay. First of all, you go on the walls and write, are you not feeling like cooking today? Maybe ask another member. You cook for them, they'll cook for you. Okay, write on the walls, because then they need a reminder, right? And then in terms of those who don't care, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think on my toes. Look, one thing I've learned is that if you find a way to coach people to be more caring somehow, that it pays off in the long term. Okay. Maybe provide them with some sort of coaching for free, recorded sessions that you can give away for free. You visit them and say, maybe someone complained about another person that he was being rude or not caring. Okay. You meet that person the next time, you say, you know what, I got these recordings, and I thought I'll give them away to you for free. Some of these life coaching sessions, you give them away, put it in a USB, give it away for free. Okay. If they don't improve in the next few months, maybe just they're not the right kind of people you want to be with. Okay. Just give them a notice, let them go. Okay. You can't change everyone, Lavanya. Okay. Sometimes all you
Yes.
can do is nudge.
Yeah, and facilitate.
And facilitate. If you can't, if they don't take that on, there's not a lot more you can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Uh,
sorry,
yes.
Jack, I was going to say, although they might not be engaging, they will have seen and they would have felt the care, and
Yes.
they will then pass on. And I'll give an example. Before my mother passed, she was in a retirement apartments, McCarthy Stone, so you have to buy it.
Yeah.
But she wasn't one to really get into playing games in the lounge and all of that. But she loved that place. Every time, she was just so happy there. So it's not sometimes, although people may not engage as such, but they're contented and they're happy, and
That's
they
right. Yes.
they know you care. Yeah.
They're
That's right. Yes.
contented and happy by watching other people, maybe. That's
Yeah.
what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
My
Yes.
mother was a
And
watcher.
engaging into that environment.
That is
Yeah.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You do have to be creative with whichever idea you look at. It doesn't really matter. Remember, guys, I always say this: don't start a business because you want to make money. Start a business because there is a gap in the market.
Yeah.
And the gap in the market needs to be more green driven, more socially engaging, more emotions driven, more experience driven. Okay. And that way it automatically becomes more creative. Okay. You can look at anything. I mean, I can look at a rent to rent. I can look at a property project. I can look at any project or any business in the world, and I can tell you, I can look at the likes of larger companies, and I've dealt with many of them, and I can see their systems, and I can see their processes, and I can see the trainings their employees get. I can tell you that if you are more creative and experience driven, or for that matter, if you're more experience driven, you automatically become more creative, and then you automatically attract more market niches than anyone else out there. Okay, remember, yes, we are in the context of property, but at the core, you are an entrepreneur. That means you want to do a business which can grow pretty fast. Okay, and don't hesitate thinking, well, I'm already in property, how am I going to manage another business? Guys, you don't have to do everything. You delegate stuff. You bring people in who will do the work for you. Okay, you only are the facilitator, the initiator, at least at the first few steps anyway. Okay, but you want to make sure that you are working to find the right niche in the market. You're working towards finding the right gap in the market, being more creative, being more innovative, being more green, being more experience driven, being more caring, and you'll be surprised at how fast you can grow any business. Okay, I'm going to take some more context so I can give you some more creative ideas there. Okay, and then the aim is that you start to generate your own ideas by observing this process. Okay, Mazi and Lavanya, there's two people I want to ask, okay, because there's a reason.
Yeah.
Mazi, is there anything else that you're looking at as a business and thinking, I could do this? Give me a context and I'll give you some ideas how to look at it more creatively.
See, as you guys are aware, we've started a podcast, and this is something new for me, especially doing a podcast. The main reason behind that is for personal brand building. But I would be interested in finding out from your point of view how we can maybe eventually monetize that side of the business.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm doing. Okay, so you can see for yourself that it is coming from experience. I interview very different kinds of people from different backgrounds. Okay, so I interviewed a girl called Hayley Finlay yesterday. Okay, she comes from a completely different background of creativity. She's more into sustainable businesses. She started a equity fund which invests into sustainable businesses. Okay, why did I bring her? Reason, because I want to bring more people besides the property business, allowing to bring more creativity, because remember, creativity is overflows, right? If you look at one creative idea from one business, it can in many cases be applied to your business. So if you want your podcast to grow massively or your personal brand to grow massively, bring different experiences.
Okay, so not just focus on the property side.
No. But always try to see how their ideas apply to property business.
Yeah, I hear
because
you.
you don't want to miss the core of your podcast, but at the same time, bring more creative ideas into your podcast. If you watch, I interviewed another girl called what was her name? Linfoot, right? Brave, Bold, and Brilliant. She started a podcast called Brave, Bold, and Brilliant. Okay, and that was the whole purpose. She was the CEO of a large corporation. Sorry, a managing director of a large corporation, if not CEO. I think she was a managing director. And the reason I brought her into the YouTube interview is because of the creativity. Okay, she's very creative. She's disruptive in her nature. She brings more innovation on the table, and those are the sort of people you want to bring. You want to bring more experts in terms of someone who's written a book, a research-based book, not opinion-based book. Okay.
Yeah.
Someone who is more creative. For example, they're doing a business, but you see creativity. Bring people like that into your podcast. You're going to see a lot more traction. Okay. And then see how those ideas applied to your business.
Yeah, I
Okay,
hear you.
I follow a guy called Champat. Seems like from his accent he's from States. Seems from the name it sounds like an Indian name or South Indian name or even Sri Lankan name. I can't tell, but kind of Indian name, that region name. But he's a billionaire. He runs a company called Social Capital. I've invited him for an interview. Either he's going to take it or not. He's a billionaire. That's another story. I've invited quite a few billionaires to our interview. We're yet to see which one is going to turn up. I've interviewed many millionaires, yet to interview one billionaire. So again, the aim is to bring more creativity to your podcast.
Okay.
And that eventually leads to your business being more creative, your brand being more creative, and it tends to get more attraction automatically.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So don't
Yeah.
just stick to property. Look at other, psychology experts, philosophy experts, coaching experts, leadership experts, or for that matter, someone who's built a large company, sold a large company lately, or someone who's bringing in a really innovative idea on the table. Kind of people like that.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Lavanya, do you want to give me a context of some other business that we can be more creative with?
As you touched now on the podcast, that was one of the things which I was thinking of.
Okay.
I did realize the property is not more about learning property itself. It's just a mindset game, what you play. So Muzzy has covered that. So let's stick to the same co-living concept.
Okay.
And probably we need to provide the services. So I was thinking about more services to be provided so that they can spend more time for their likes, what to do.
Okay, so can I request you, just for the context of this recording, give me a random business idea so I can show you how to be more creative with it.
Random business idea.
Anyone has
Okay.
anything?
Yeah, let's. It's not a random business idea. What is this? Dark kitchens.
Dark kitchens. So that means they are completely, you can't see anything. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so I actually went to one which is in central London. I think it was close to. It's an EC postcode, East Central. It was close to the bank station, somewhere there. Okay, basically the concept was that all the workers are actually blind, officially blind people. Okay, because they can't see anything. The kitchen they've kept the kitchen dark. You just choose. So when you choose your menu, you don't get to choose what you eat. You get to choose, as in, is it a vegetarian? Is it seafood? Or it is non-vegetarian, as in chicken or lamb or whatever. That's something you choose, but you don't choose the actual menu. The menu is already ready. And the idea is that when you're eating, you try to guess what it is that you're eating. And you can't even see your hand when you're there. Okay. And everyone who is obviously booking knows that people who work there are officially, like, they're blind people. They can't see. So people tend to get attracted more towards that concept, that they want to book and they want to go, and the experience of it. And that's exactly why we went there as well. But once you come out, they actually show you what you ate. And then, did you even guess right? Okay, so it's just a really interesting concept that I found. How can you be more creative with it? I think you can bring dishes. I think that was a very English menu. Okay, I believe that let people choose, for example, the vegetarian, non-vegetarian, seafood, or whatever that might be for them. But within that, I believe more cuisines are required, because I know a lot of people who are not into English food. Neither am I. So even though I enjoyed the experience, I didn't quite enjoy the food. Okay. It wasn't the kind of food. So I think being more creative with the actual cuisine itself would be more creative way of looking at it. Within that, I also feel that it can be more experiential if people would go and watch something. So it's almost like you're walking into the restaurant, you watch this pre-recorded video about what this restaurant is all about, what kind of experiences, what kind of cuisines, other people, stuff like that. Some sort of, it's almost like you walk into, London Eye, and they show you a picture, right? So before you even start, you've just gone through an amazing experience of a video. Okay, you could apply that to your restaurant, and then they go and eat in the dark. So it's almost like looking at all of that in a more creative way. When you go to London Eye, I think London Eye in and itself is not as great as the video that you watch initially, right? Raise your hand if you've been there. Oh yeah, if you go now, they've changed it. It is amazing what you watch when you go walk in initially, right? So the experience of the London Eye is nowhere close to what you watch when you walk in initially in a video. And actually, they've done the same in Dubai as well, where you walk into this, I think there's a building there, and you walk in and they show you like a 7 or 8D experience. Okay. And you watch that, you guys might have watched a 3D movie, but that's like a 7 or 8D. You watch that and then you see the building, right? So it's like being more creative with the way you present your experience. Does that make sense? Okay. And then you always want to make sure that there is something that you do in the middle of all that that is an emotional experience. So that means they walk out and they talk about it. For example, I'm talking about it at the moment, right? I went to London Eye. It wasn't the ride itself, but more the initial experience of watching that video. Likewise, my missus went to Dubai and she watched this 7-8D video experience when she was walking into a building, and that was more memorable than anything else. But what is it that you can leave people with that they will talk about? That is the question you want to ask yourself, because remember, then you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money in marketing. People who visit already will go and talk about you. Does that help to some extent?
Yep. My question, anyway, that's a different question, because normally the blind people, I totally understand when it's the English menu, you have less ingredients, or you can, by shape or something, you formally can recognize what is a prawn, what is a, lamb or something. But it will be a challenging part to have an Indian.
People like challenges.
Yeah, Indian concepts there.
Just so you know, Lavanya, English people know more about Indian food than actually Indian people do.
I know.
Like, this is amazing. I have met more English people. They know more about Indian dishes than I damn do.
Yeah, we just ignore our culture.
Exactly. So don't underestimate how much they don't know. They know really well Indian food.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm not saying Indian food. I'm saying, experiencing with different cuisines over a period of time. If someone has been to your restaurant and they've tried Indian, maybe one day you want to try Chinese and say, this is the day we're going to try Chinese. So come over and try Chinese next time.
That's right.
Okay. So remember, not results, but more experiences. One day you have an Indian chef. The next day you have a Chinese chef. The next day you could have another chef. But you are bringing those experiences into a dark kitchen. Okay.
Yeah. Great concept.
Again, one thing I do believe in, that even though you may be only one idea away from being that next millionaire or billionaire, that you still need to bring in that operational expertise or operational strength, that I call it, into anything that you do. I have met a lot of people with a lot of ideas. They just don't know how to operationally execute it. And you need to become that very, very strong person. You observe me, I am one of them. Okay. I'm a hardcore executional style operational person. I really want to get stuff done. I really want to be on top of things. I want to make sure that it literally gets done, it becomes profitable, that we can come out and then look back at it and say, wow, that was a good job done. Okay. Remember, guys, when you are working on something, that is your museum. And when someone walks into that museum, are they going to say wow or not? And if they're not going to say, wow, why are you even there? Why are you even there? Okay, that's your museum. That is your temple. Your business, your life, your business, or for that matter, what you're working on is your temple. Treat it like one. Okay, don't just treat it like shit. So just make sure that you present it the right way. Make sure you're more creative, and that when they walk into your temple and they walk into your museum, they walk into your business, and they walk away and say, wow, I've never been to a subway like that, or I've never been to a rent or a shared accommodation property like that, or I've never actually met a landlord or agent like that. I've never met a person like that. That's what you want to be. That's what you want to create, experiences. Anyone has any more context they want to give me so I could be more creative with it? All right, okay. I guess that's it. If anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you in terms of being more creative. Like I said, you want to start a business because you found a niche and a more creative idea than just looking for profits, because then you're results driven rather than experiences driven, which is the wrong way of looking at any business, or for that matter, looking at anything. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for watching. I'm going to stop the recording.